Even in St. Matthew 24, when he talked about the stones will be thrown down of the temple, which was the court, the court. Because Jesus is the temple. The temple cannot be destroyed because the temple is with God. They can't touch the temple because Jesus is the temple. But the court, which is the people's here, but he can't measure the temple because the temple is God himself, Jesus himself. But the court, which is the people's, can't. The Holy Land is the crucifixion of Jesus would symbolize the Jesus being crucified. Now, let's go back to Afghanistan. Let's take us back to Afghanistan. We're sending 30,000 more troops over there. But after the war began with Afghanistan and the transfer into Iraq, it shows you there had been a discrepancy between God and a demonic spirit. Because when Saddam Hussein was finally captured, you cannot hear, not from hearing, a racial overtone, which came from President George W. Bush. He said these words before he went into Iraq. He told him and his son, get out of town. Get out the land, get out of town. And when he said, I let you come in and inspect these, seas we have weapons of mass destruction. He said, it's too late now. And once he overthrew Iraq with no merit, they didn't find no weapons of mass destruction, just like Saddam Hussein said he didn't have. This connects you with the prophecy of Job. He said he was an innocent man. He was upright. That's when he said these things. He was letting us know that each time that President George H.W. Bush fought Iraq, he fought them on false charges. When he came in the second time and fought Iraq, he fought them on false charges. Why? They said, well, he took away Kuwait. No, he didn't take away Kuwait. God gave them this land. It was inside of this gate here. United States and nobody had the authority, but it was the United States and the United Nations who came and separated this land, which they didn't supposed to even be inside of this holy temple. So when he came and recaptured that which was his, that could not be separated, that's when they jumped on him the first time. So there had to be a justification in here. So what happened is, Kuwait became a curse. Kuwait became a curse. But what became a curse to the 12 tribes of Israel, they allowed the United States and all these other nations who was not part of the covenant to remain here and build embassies. This is a curse. And when they came in here, they influenced the weakest of the minds there to take on a law called democracy. And through those peoples became this great exploitation to do away with the law of Moses, to cause them to go against God, as he spoke to these matters in Exodus chapter 24, I believe, as it goes into chapter 25. So, it became a thorn. Now, Revelation chapter 6, the pale horse, where they're taking the CIA over there. These are the ones. It's going to force the law of democracy upon God's people, or they will be killed. It will take away the law, the daily sacrifice where Jesus was slain for, but I too was a part of that sacrifice. And the man who lived by the spirit of Elijah I don't know who he is, but he too will return at these later days. But I know who I am. I live by the Spirit of Moses. I am the messenger of the covenant. Well, the war. This is Persian Gulf. This is the Red Sea. This is the Great Sea, which is the Mediterranean Sea. The nations, if you're planning on to take Saudi Arabia, which is an oil-rich country, up in Ethiopia, North Africa, the only way that you could take these lands, you got to first ban China, because China have demonstrated it in 1972, and he have demonstrated in December 2009 that he is not in agreement with nations that exploit the poorest nation of earth. Demands a demand on the poorest of the nation of the earth, that which he don't impose upon himself, on the rich nation. A great exploitation. That's what it is. So what they have to do is, America is on life support. Was the knocking down of the Trade Center buildings an act of malice or act of propagation? Was it an act of malice, or was it an act of provocation? Once you take and the rich exploit the poor, and you dominate your policies, you could create situations, and you could hide peoples the same as Blackwater or sinister-minded peoples who forsaken the covenant of God, and act out a genocide against you. But the world, we as peoples, as we live in these nations, if we do not consider these facts and don't consider the poorest of the nations, we let these things go on as long as it doesn't affect us. This is what's been going on. But only the poorest of the nation could see these things and understand these things. But it doesn't matter to us how they cry, as long as it ain't our house, it's not flooded. We could care less what they say or what they do. To go and take sides with the richest, the strong, and the mighty. God said in His Word, and these are the words of God spoken of in Daniel chapter 2. The image that was a year ago, and the chest of silver, the shoulders and arms of silver, and the breasts and the thighs of brass, the legs of iron, and the feet part moderate clay and part iron. He said this image was terrible and dreadful. But this same image, which is consistent with this image, the nation that is consistent with that symbol, said God is a lie. Them peoples that He called saints, spoken of throughout by the prophets, even in Revelation chapter 6, when He said robe was given to them until the rest of their peoples could be slain, they said these peoples are terrorists. Who's who? Well, we're getting ready to find out. The doors is closing. Pakistan, they got to take Pakistan. India, here, you got all this water here. Chinese cannot come to India and come over here because they don't have any ships. And rescue, only part that China could come through, you see where India is water here. They got to come through Pakistan and come up here, march up here, and come down through here and come down here because they is a nation that have few ships. So, when I get to explaining these things,